Hello all of you little demons, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, back again with another episode of the awesomely named and awfully hosted Choose Your Own Adventure, the weekly medieval themed format where I, the crown jewels of WhatCulture.com, take a list chosen by you, yes you, the person who has a Warhammer tournament. As of the time of recording, I'm going off tomorrow. I haven't even finished painting my army yet. Why do I do this to myself? Yes, you get to decide what list I dole out to you each and every week. And this week we have none other to thank than Pueblo Native, who made a rather brilliant point by saying that there are tons of video game NPCs that deserve way more love, attention, and respect from the fan base, and also their own bloody video game. Because surely this is just money left on the table. I mean, you've got a fan base willing to explore more of a character that you've introduced with a pseudo-soft launch, and it would be way easier to deliver an experience different from the core gameplay, so what more could you want? Hell, I'll tell you what, I'll even take this one step further, and I won't just tell you about NPCs that deserve their own video game, but also I'll pitch the bloody game as well. You're welcome. So with this in mind, I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 7 video game NPCs that deserve their own video game. And you know the drill by now. Say hi to me here in the live chat and put your suggestions for next week's episode down in the comments section below. And also say hi to Dan, because he's now our new resident Choose Your Own Adventure editor. Hey Dan, what's up? High five, buddy. Ow. Let's get on with it, shall we? Number 7, Owl. Now, in a game so convoluted with its approach to storytelling and including the ability to travel across time through the use of memories, Sekiro is a game that posits characters to the player with huge question marks above their heads. Now, it's a part of the allure to dissect and decode their backstories and origins through item descriptions and snippets of overheard dialogue, but of all of these wonderful tales told, there is definitely one out there that could use a little bit more fleshing out. Owl's plot to obtain immortality might at first seem simple on paper, even if the means of going about it are rather obtuse, but there is a drive shown within his character that comes from a place of inferiority. His actions speak of a man not wishing to rule the entire world because of greed, but to do so out of spite, to prove those who doubted him in the past wrong. Through fragments we learned that he trained Wolf alongside Lady Butterfly within a forest covered in mist, yet it is heavily implied that this was not his forest, and more likely belonged to his family. And just imagine the sort of mounted, muscled warriors that gave birth to this lump of lad. I mean, that is surely a story worth telling, right? A prequel game that detailed Owl learning of the mortal blades or how to obtain immortality set against the backdrop of his own parents overshadowing or resenting him could make for a deliciously angst-riddled plot, and his subsequent banding together and later betrayal of Lady Butterfly and Ishin would add greater weight to their showdowns in Sekiro. Plus, getting to see a young wolf train alongside him could make for that delicious sadness that makes these types of plots oh so very Moorish indeed. Number 6, Zote the Mighty. Now, Hollow Knight is a game that absolutely loves a tragic tale. Everywhere you look in the meticulous first outing, you will find characters who battle against the odds day in and day out, and some of them have been so ground down by the weight of their experiences that they are naught but shells of their former selves. Yet, throughout all of this, there remains one NPC who is so steadfast in his beliefs that it actually borders on a new level of insanity, which could be none other than Zote the Mighty. Now, Zote, bless him, is a warrior of legend in much the same way that Jimmy the Thief, that kid that you knew at school, didn't steal your lunches every time that you went out of the classroom, aka they are both lying toe rags. Zote is weaker than a cardboard skeleton, and while he believes himself to be the stuff of legends, he's anything but, and so his defeat is so resounding that you can't actually help but think of him long after you've left him in the dust. And so what better character than to base a new game on? I know it sounds weird, but kind of bear with me here, because did you guys ever play Dead Rising 2 off the record? Well, if you did, and I know this is a strange tangent, but I will get back around to it, Frank West is basically famous because he broke the story first, and he's kind of languishing in excess now. He's bored of life because he's got everything that he wants and so has no lust for life, and it's only through getting down to the very bottom that he becomes a hero once more, and that is where Zote is. He has been ground down into the dirt, so why not pick him back up and teach him to be the hero that he truly believes he is? This severe humbling, let's just call it that, would act as a brilliant first act towards becoming an actual hero. Plus, thanks to his severe physical weakness, the game could even be built around dodging enemies or using elements other than your weapons in order to get the edge on your foes. We've all talked up a big game and come up short at least once in our lives and likely come to remember that burning embarrassment that came with it. Just like the time I said I could jump Springfield Gorge. So a game that taps into that raw, awkward energy whilst being fired through the prism of Hollow Knight's exceptional gameplay could make for one of the most engaging and, dare I say it, real games in history. Number 5. Kendo. When it comes to over-the-top characters with so much colour that you'd think your eyes have been stabbed by felt-tip pens, you can't do much better than the oddities found within the Resident Evil franchise. From mysterious merchants to police officers bitten one day before retirement to, please step on me mummy TM, there is a ton of colourful characters within the Resident Evil franchise, but what if we dial things back a bit in order to tell a more personal tale? As it stands, Resident Evil is at its best when it reminds the player of what is at stake, be it the residents of a small town, the fate of your team, or, as in the case of Robert Kendo, a humble gun store owner in Raccoon City, his family. If set alongside the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes timeline, we could see the outbreak of Raccoon City through a very different lens here. As here you wouldn't be trying to take down Umbrella or uncover governmental conspiracies, you'd just be trying to get your wife and daughter to safety. And before anyone fires up the comment sections with, well, technically you do play as Kendo in the Ghost Survivors DLC of the Resident Evil 2 remake, yes I know, but those are non-canon, my friends, and are you really going to look me in the eye and tell me that you want less Robert Kendo? If you do, you're an idiot. Sorry, but you are. Big love. As well known as the unfortunate fate of Kendo's family is, that doesn't mean that the journey getting to that point would be any less painful, and if Capcom ever wanted to spin a harrowing tale of loss and shed more light on a community favourite, Kendo's origin story is ripe and waiting. There we have it, a potentially brilliant game of a personal horror story just waiting to be made. Either that, or they could just make a game about tofu gaining sentience for the first time. I definitely buy that too. Number 4, Garrus. Has there ever been a character that captured the hearts and minds of the masses quite like Garrus from Mass Effect? Short answer, no. Seriously, from the moment this cute alien Catman dropped into our laps, he calibrated the game. His stern, almost standoffish nature quickly peeled back to reveal a figure just looking to do right by the world with every ounce of his being. He wasn't confined by hatred for other races like some others were, and was just concerned with bettering the situation for all. And this, coupled with his lightning-fast wit and shrewd observations, meant that every scenario he was in was bettered by his presence. And so what better figure to base a Mass Effect prequel game on? Now, in the current timeline, the franchise has been obliterated by the severe meh bomb that was Andromeda, which fell foul of trying to provide a story bigger and better than the literal end of the universe. How do you do that? It's literally the end of the universe and you're saying, we're going to do more. How? You idiots, stupid heathens. And these lofty expectations crushed Andromeda right out of the gate. So why not dial things back and instead focus on Garrus' rise to becoming part of C-Sec and meeting Shepard for the first time? I know tons of fans who would love to explore the Citadel in more detail, solving crimes and keeping peace between the converging alien races, and it would remind people that Mass Effect, for all of its bombast and spectacle, is primarily a story about forging connections, and this type of smaller game would hit that brief in full. Number 3, the adoring fan. 1 second, you're staring out, gazing over the luscious lands of Oblivion, trying not to question the draw distance too much because it kind of looks like you developed cataracts after about 30 yards. The next, you're face to face with this flame-headed superfan. It was a scenario that instantly became a meme before memes were even a thing, especially when your first encounter with the adoring fan could happen at any time after you became the arena champion, and thanks to a robust fast travel system, could see the wee lad pop up next to you on the side of a mountain or deep within an unexplored tomb. It was a shock to say the least. And while the fan's overt positivity can quickly become grating, he has endured as an NPC for the ages. So I know you're asking the question, how, and more importantly, why would you choose this NPC to make a video game on? Well, I'll tell you, my friends, because it would be totally different. Instead of a hero walking around the world and slaying beasts with all the difficulty of crossing off your shopping list, playing as the fan would be a totally different experience. Here, even basic enemies could do you in, and seeing as your quest would be to find the hero of ages who is randomly roaming the world, you'd have to use your cunning, guile, and bartering skills in order to find them. That's it, that's your one goal, to find the hero that is randomly walking around a giant freeform world. And thanks to the Elder Scrolls' love of random happenstance, this could make for some of the most hilarious and engaging storytelling ever. Number 2, Nick Valentine. As we all know, dog meat is a man's best friend, and across the Fallout franchise, this wonderfully resilient pup has managed to survive nuclear detonations whilst at the same time exploding our hearts with joy. And as such, you know that you've got to be a pretty special character when you can outdo this dang dog, but that is exactly what Nick Valentine is, a bloody exceptional character. Part old-timey-wimey private eye, part robotic synth, Nick is an NPC unlike anything else in the industry. He's both stuck in the past and a being that is far beyond any technical comprehension we hold in reality, and it's these opposing ideals that give birth to a figure both haunted by his implanted memories and yet unable to move on thanks to his appearance making him a target for many. He's a character just trying to do the right thing whilst being treated like absolute dirt 99% of the time, and thus a deeper exploration into his backstory would be an absolute money move from Bethesda. Imagine an origin story that showed his early days of him setting up his private eye firm, or even set after the events of Fallout 4 as he looks to branch out and open new locales, even hiring other detectives to help him solve a wider crime that is like a global conspiracy. That would be amazing, because then you'd be able to add in base management mechanics that aren't bloody settlement building. Calm down, Jules. Calm down, Jules. Instead, you'd be able to send them off on tiny quests in order to gather clues, which would then feed into the larger narrative. Therefore, making a mini-game actually means something to the main plot line. I know, Bethesda. It's mad, isn't it? It's a crazy idea, you heathens! Plus, let's face it, after Fallout 76 rocked the boat and then sunk the bloody thing by throwing the anchor into the air and yelling microtransactions just before it hit the deck, Bethesda kind of needs a win for the series here. And number 1, the narrator from the Stanley Parable. Now, there have been many great narrators across the course of video game history, from Max Payne delivering his own melancholic diatribe on life, death, and everything in between, through to the likes of Bastion's soundtrack giving way to the narrator detailing your actions as you made them, and of course, me. I know, I am a video game narrator of sorts, so yes, lavish praise upon the egg. The egg needeth the ego boost. What am I doing? It's a bizarre, meta-shattering storytelling device that both makes the player intimately aware that they're playing a game, yet because the voice in your head are detailing the events as they unfold by your hand, it ends up drawing you further into the gameplay. Yet there is no other video game narrator quite like the one that we find within the Stanley Parable, as here this omniscient and omnipresent voice seems to be your ally, your enemy, your guiding light, and the devil's advocate all at once, and creates one of the few pure, perfect video game experiences going. So just imagine what things would be like from their perspective. Sheer insanity, right? Of course it would be, but what if the game involving the narrator was built around dungeon management? And I use dungeon management just to try and term the genre that it would be in. You're basically building a series of offices and corridors in order to lead an AI-controlled Stanley to different endings. But the problem is, because most people, as we all know, play the Stanley Parable against what the narrator is doing, your Stanleys often will not listen at all. So it's up to you to try and get them back on track by using tricks and traps to feed them back through to the desired ending. Wouldn't that be fun? It'd be like Lemmings for a new era of gamers. Amazing! Oh, I tell you what, guys, I'm absolutely spent after doing all of that. I've just pitched 7 money ideas. Money on the table right there. Will any of these publishers or developers listen? Only time will tell, but I will take my royalty check in the mail. Thank you very much. Good night. Goodbye. And there we go, my friends. Those were 7 video game NPCs that deserve their own games. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below, and put your suggestions for next week's episode down there as well. Thank you very much indeed. If you want to chat to me in the meantime between the Choose Your Adventure episodes, you can follow me over here on Instagram at RetroJ, but the O is a 0, and you can follow Dan Durkin over here on his social medias indeed. But before I go, I just want to say one thing, my friend. You deserve love, happiness, happiness and success, and do not let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise, alright? You're a massive ledge, you deserve the best, and I want you to achieve your life goals, so go out there and smash it. I believe in ya. Until next time, my friends, take it easy, and remember, you're a big ledge. Bye.